Phil Jackson is regarded as the greatest NBA coach the world has ever seen. With the 11 rings, 13 trips to the finals in 20 seasons, and the winner of 3 out of the 5 three-peats in NBA history, many wonder how he achieved so much success. Well, it all comes down to one secret tactic that allowed him to destroy everyone for over 2 decades. A strategy so good that it even made Michael Jordan into the legend he is today. But how did he get superstars to embrace this unique approach? And what was the hidden key to his ability to create championship-winning teams time and time again? Well, the more you learn about Phil Jackson, the more it makes sense about why he was so successful and had such ridiculous win rates.
Spectacular passes, move the ball, and move it on.
Think of really only one coach for that Bulls team, and that would be Phil Jackson.
In the years following his successful playing career with 2 championships on the New York Knicks teams, Phil Jackson immediately began his coaching career. His desire to lead, his desire to win meant he did not just want to be an assistant coach. He began his head coaching career in the Puerto Rican League before moving to the Canadian Basketball League, winning his first coaching championship with the Albany Patroons in 1984. It was there he was also named Coach of the Year.
My coaching career actually started when I was with the New Jersey Nets. After a stint there, I left to head coach for a few years in the Albany Patroons and in Puerto Rico. I felt that being a head coach was probably better for me and my personality than staying with the NBA and being an assistant coach. And I think it paid off.
But how did he rise so quickly? It wasn't going to be easy, but it would only take 2 seasons to win his first title. How would he get Michael Jordan to buy in? At the core of Phil's extraordinary success as a coach was his unconventional and sum-of-the-parts coaching strategies. Heavily influenced by Eastern philosophy and Native American spiritual practices, Jackson's approach to coaching transcended the traditional X's and O's.
It's also about a direct connection with the players, of adding something more than basketball, giving them perspective. You know, Phil did it with meditation, with books, try to expand our horizons, if you will, connect with us kind of personally and see how what could trigger each individual to perform better, right? To get the best from us.
The Zen Master, as he was aptly nicknamed, met Tex Winter on the Chicago coaching staff and became obsessed with Winter's own strategies that were being rejected by the previous coach of the Bulls. Phil believed he could develop these strategies into his own tactic that would be crucial for players to focus, center themselves, and ultimately achieve peak performance on the court.
We talked about mindfulness as being, as much as we pump iron and we run to build our strength up, we need to build our mental strength up. So we practiced mindfulness, is what you have to do.
The thing is, Jackson's entire central coaching principle was benching the ego. He firmly believed that coaching was not about the coach's glory, but about empowering the players to become leaders themselves. By delegating responsibilities and encouraging his players to take ownership of their roles, Jackson created a team dynamic where every player felt valued and invested in the collective success. He knew, simply, what it took to win basketball games. He understood how to make the connection to go from thinking about winning to actually winning.
You got to devote yourself to them in order to excel, to be different, to succeed.
This nuanced approach to ego management was a hallmark of Jackson's coaching style, as he tailored his methods to suit the unique needs and personalities of each player. His extraordinary empathy allowed him to understand each player's individual strengths, weaknesses, and motivation, enabling him to communicate with them in a way that simply no one else had. But this connection fostered trust and loyalty amongst his players, who were willing to buy into his system and ultimately embrace his unconventional methods. This Zen Master approach basically kept his players engaged and mentally sharp throughout long seasons. And not only is that important for just a singular season, but imagine three-peating 3 different times and almost a 4th time. It required him to make his players have a different level of engagement that superseded everybody else in the league.
Phil took us to the Staten Island ferry, and instead of practicing, we got on the ferry and just, went out.
At the heart of Jackson's coaching philosophy was the belief that creating a team culture where everyone could thrive within the framework of the team was fundamental to its success. It was this philosophy of teamwork and selflessness that enabled Jackson to convince even the most fiercely competitive players, like, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, to buy into his entire system.
Phil calls me to his office, goes, hey, we're starting to lose the big fella, and we need him in June. We have a game against the Clippers. Dump the ball in the shack instead of shooting a wide open shot. The 40-point streak ended that night.
Using it along with Kobe and Shaq, as well as Michael and of course Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, his ability to create a balanced, cohesive unit where individual egos were set aside for the greater good was key to this unparalleled success. And doing all of this wasn't easy, and we know the stories about Kobe and Shaq. We know that Michael Jordan is, Michael Jordan. So how did Jackson manage to get the greatest player of all time to buy into his approach so quickly? The answer lies obviously in the coach's approach, as well as his innovative strategies where X's and O's did matter, but so did the ability to coach a player in a way that maximizes their belief in the one true goal, winning as a team. Well, to understand the success, we have to go back to the early years. Being an assistant for the Chicago Bulls in the 80s and then taking over the head coaching position, Phil Jackson faced the daunting task of convincing MJ, a player known for his unrelenting competitiveness and individual brilliance, to embrace a more team-oriented approach. Jordan's natural inclination was to dominate the game as he had always done, often taking on the bulk of the scoring responsibility himself. I mean, he was pretty good at that with 10 scoring titles in his career, but Jackson recognized that for the Bulls to reach their full potential, Jordan needed to trust his teammates and the system a little bit more. And one of the key strategies that Jackson employed was then to reframe Michael Jordan's perspective. In a crucial conversation, Jackson simply asked Jordan if he wanted to be remembered for a lifetime of individual accolades or for winning championships. This question struck a chord with Jordan, prompting him to reconsider his priorities and the path to true greatness. To facilitate this shift in the right direction, Jackson introduced the X's and O's that would bind his coaching philosophy with the technical knowledge of Tex Winter into the behemoth it would become. It was time to reveal his secret tactic that would dominate the league for 20 years, the triangle offense. But not the intricate system that was originally conceived by Sam Barry and refined by Tex Winter. It would be the version masterfully adapted by Jackson to suit the unique talent of his players. So how exactly did he do this? Phil wanted to take the Chicago Bulls out of this one-on-one play style and into this motion offense where the motion created from a single pass would create 33 different options from that movement. This was its key to create passes and opportunities to score. A single strategy that could almost not be defended because it created what would feel like an infinite amount of outcomes for a defense to have to handle. Michael Jordan famously called this the equal opportunity offense, but an important thing needs to be pointed out so you understand why it required buy-in by every player to such a high level, and also allowed MJ and Kobe to gather ridiculous scoring stats. Specifically, MJ would get another 7 scoring titles with the triangle, including the 3 he had before, so it's not like it slowed him down. You see, opportunity is the key word here because games hardly ever result in an equal distribution of scoring, but it gave each player the leverage to force their defensive counterpart to move around and respect them as they were still able to touch the ball and throw passes. Proper execution of the triangle's guidelines ensures an effectively spaced offense, balancing pressure across the court. Through this, a triangle forms with players continuously moving without the ball, keeping passing and cutting lanes open. It allows for a diverse array of plays, and this fluid dynamic system also required a high level of basketball IQ as well as fundamental skills. This challenged players to think strategically, and the difficult part here was you had to make split-second decisions. And those decisions had to be based on the present moment. If you had missed a few shots or some mistakes that happened, or you were anticipating a whole bunch of threes coming your way, you couldn't think like that. The players needed mindfulness, something the Zen master heavily focused on, and it was for this purpose he coached in the way he did. It was an entire philosophy from X's and O's to player motivation. Jackson also used this specific offense because it was a direct response to the defensive strategies employed by opponents, such as the infamous Jordan rules used by the Detroit Pistons to contain Michael Jordan in the 80s.
Jordan rules were for the Pistons to know about, not for anybody else to know about.
The Jordan rules, is that something you guys made up?
Initially, of course, he resisted the change, struggling to relinquish control and adapt to a more structured offensive approach. However, as the Bulls began to experience success, Jordan started to see the benefits of the triangle and spreading the ball around, leveraging the talent of his teammates. Jackson's unique film sessions also played a crucial role in reinforcing the principles of the offense and highlighting the importance of each player's role in the team's success. No man above the team. As Jordan's trust in the system grew, so did his appreciation for the development of his teammates under Jackson's guidance. That, and he still got to score 30 a night, so you know. This would lead them to have the second best record in the East in Jackson's first season as head coach. Ultimately, of course, as it is written, they would lose in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Detroit Pistons, who had now knocked them out 3 years in a row.
But we still got to win our turn. We're still trying to improve our team. They were the better team, and they played better today.
However, through Jackson's coaching, the rise of Scottie Pippen as a versatile and invaluable partner on the court further solidified Jordan's belief in the power of teamwork. Together, they formed one of the most formidable duos in NBA history, another one coming up in this video as well. Their complementary skills and shared commitment to the triangle offense made the Bulls a nearly unstoppable force. Along with Pippen and Jordan's full-on commitment and buy-in, the Bulls went on to finally defeat the Pistons and ultimately the Lakers in the 1991 NBA Finals for the first ever championship. Jordan's ability to adapt his game and embrace a more selfless approach was a testament to Jackson's coaching genius and the effectiveness of everything he had taught the team. He successfully transformed Michael Jordan from a singular talent into the linchpin of a dynasty. Jordan's willingness to trust his coach and his teammates not only elevated his own legacy, hitting scoring averages that we probably won't see again, but also set the stage for the Bulls' unprecedented success of 6 NBA titles and 2 threepeats in the 1990s. I think most of the world might have already heard about that though. So as the Bulls era came to a close, Jackson then decided to face new challenges with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would need to integrate another fiercely competitive superstar into his system, Kobe Bryant. However, it wasn't just the emergence of Kobe Bryant as a talent, but really the dominant superstar Shaquille O'Neal. How could he manage both these two dominant personalities and make them into a championship dynasty? Bryant posed a different kind of challenge compared to Michael Jordan. While Jordan had already established himself as a leader and was more receptive to Jackson's philosophy, an almost brotherly relationship if you will.
Kobe's 21. I treated him more like a son. I treated, Michael more like a brother.
Kobe was still forging his own path and asserting his dominance on the league. Jackson recognized that Bryant's competitive drive was both a blessing and a potential curse if the Zen Master could not control it for the best results. He needed to find ways to channel Bryant's intensity and leadership tendencies without compromising the team's unity and overall success. One of Jackson's key strategies was to allow Bryant a certain level of autonomy in exploring his game without resorting to that discipline.
Shaq came from a disciplinary, his stepfather was military, right? Yes, sir, no, sir. And whatever you asked him to do and told him to do, he was obedient. Kobe was that German Shepherd puppy that nobody ever said no to.
This approach fostered Bryant's self-assurance while gradually integrating him into the team's system and allowed him to use that all-out aggressive attack mode that the team needed for them to succeed, as Jackson explained. Managing the dynamic between Bryant and O'Neal proved to be another significant challenge for Jackson. As Bryant's role and influence grew, O'Neal became increasingly frustrated, perceiving it as a threat to his own dominance. Jackson had to navigate these complex ego clashes with a genius hand.
They're just defined a little territory that's, their area, and I think that's kind of what you see in role playing a lot of times as a coach. You see guys want to have a space that they kind of define as this is my area.
He often communicated with Bryant indirectly through the media, a tactic that initially caused frustration, but was part of Jackson's overarching plan to maintain team equilibrium.
Phil really enjoyed being able to throw those little quotes out there to create that tension. But Phil was very not confrontational.
Yeah, he was.
Right? Very indirect. You couldn't get a straight thing from him. Right? It was always kind of going this way to try to create this tension within the team that he believed in his mind we would figure out later. It's going to be messy now, but when they figure it out, it's going to be like this big kumbaya moment, and the team is just going to rise to a different level.
Despite the tensions and conflicts between Bryant and O'Neal, both publicly and privately, Jackson managed to keep the team focused on their collective goals. He believed in allowing players to discover their own path within the framework of the team, and this approach was particularly effective in managing strong personalities like Bryant's. He came to appreciate the importance of putting the team's needs above his own personal achievements. Now hold the thing that you're thinking in your head for a second. Yes, that wasn't always the case, but through Jackson's coaching, through Jackson's triangle, through his ability to make Kobe and Shaq and the rest of their teams focus on winning championships, the Lakers, under Phil Jackson's leadership, were able to three-peat yet again. Think about that for a second. Phil Jackson had three-peated, 2-year break due to Michael Jordan's retirement, another three-peat, a 1-year break while he moved to the Lakers, and then another three-peat. What a ridiculous 12-year period. A testament to the effectiveness of, again, his ego management strategies and the ability to unite the team around a common purpose. Jackson's success in managing Bryant's integration into the team and navigating the complex dynamics between him and Shaq. Now, yes, Phil and Kobe did have a lot of friction at the end of the three-peat. Shaq and Kobe as well. Shaq moves on to Miami and wins another chip. Kobe decides to chase those personal accolades. He realizes that he underappreciated Phil Jackson's approach, even though he did buy in for that championship run. Well, he bought in because Shaq would, come into camp a bit out of shape and sort of only really play for the playoffs. And Kobe loved that because Phil Jackson allowed him to absolutely play free, to absolutely dominate the game while Shaq was really working his way in or coming back from injuries.
You playing yourself in the shape throughout the course of the season gave me the opportunity to do more and to expand, to try different things and push different things. And then when you got in shape, it was hard then to try for Phil to try to dial that back. Right? Because I'm out there going 40, 45, 50, all sorts of stuff. It feels like, okay, we got to rein you back in now.
However, the friction between Shaq, Kobe, the Lakers, as well as Phil Jackson meant that Phil Jackson retired from coaching. He took a break. While Kobe was lighting it up for those personal accolades, he realized that he did not appreciate Phil Jackson's coaching. He did not appreciate what he brought to the table in terms of winning culture. And after about a year away from each other, Phil Jackson comes back to once again coach the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. They would struggle for a few seasons to really find their groove with much weaker teams than Phil Jackson was used to coaching. But it was Kobe's turn. He wanted to lead championship-winning rosters. The Lakers brought in Pau Gasol, they made some changes. And guess what? Using the same coaching approach, the same triangle offense, the tried and true Zen master coaching philosophy of inner mindfulness on the basketball court and team bonding with a highly complicated yet insanely flexible, beautiful triangle offense, Jackson taking them to 3 straight finals and winning another back-to-back with a more matured and respectful Kobe Bryant. On 4 different occasions, reaching the final 3 straight times is absolutely ridiculous by a player and coaching standards. And Phil Jackson came out with an astounding 11 NBA championships, and the system would pass into legend.
As much as you want a player that shows some talent to do something you want to do on your team, you have to look at what he really is and what it's really about and use his attributes for what it is.
The effectiveness was undeniable. Beyond its technical brilliance, the triangle also served as a vehicle for player empowerment.
I was extremely naive. And with Phil and his genius, his responsibility was to get the team to a place to win titles.
As the Bulls and Lakers dynasties dominated the NBA landscape, it became clear that Phil Jackson's triangle offense was more than just tactical innovation. It represented his ability to adapt, innovate, and inspire greatness in his players. As Jackson's coaching career came to a close the season following his final title with the Lakers in 2010, his legacy extended far beyond the 11 rings adorning his fingers. And I guess a toe. His coaching philosophy revolutionized the way teams were led and managed. His emphasis on mindfulness, self-discovery, and personal growth inspired countless coaches to look beyond the X's and O's of the game and focus on the mental and emotional well-being of their players. And when you had a great understanding of the game and you were able to implement the fundamentals and strategies that maximize the talents of your players, you combine them, and that something will allow sustained championship windows for those that look to become the greatest of their generation. The Zen Master's legacy serves as an example of what can be accomplished when a coach combines strategic mastery with a deep understanding of how to motivate players and inspire them to reach heights they never thought possible.
Celebrate the moment, man. It's the moment. It's the moment. That Zen Buddhism shit. Y'all get in the moment and stay here.